Most drivers think they're getting robbed at the pump because of the number on the sign out front. They're only half right. The bigger robbery is happening because of 17 things nobody working that station has any reason to ever tell you. And I've spent 22 years watching good people burn money they never had to spend. I'm a mechanic, not an economist, but I've pulled apart enough engines and stared at enough fuel data to know exactly where your gas money disappears. And most of it has nothing to do with the price of a gallon. Stay with me all the way to number 1, because that's the single most profitable lie the fuel business sells you. It costs you extra at every fill-up. Your car was almost certainly never built to need it, and the day you walk away from it, you put money back in your pocket starting with your very next tank. By the end of this, you'll be squeezing more miles out of every gallon than the driver in the next lane, and you won't spend a dime to do it. Number 17, the gas cap you've been ignoring. Let's start with the cheapest leak on your whole car, the one sitting right under that little door you flip open every week. When the cap underneath stops sealing because the rubber gasket has gone hard, or because you never tightened it past the first turn, raw fuel vapor escapes into the air instead of being captured and burned the way the system was designed to capture it. Your engine compensates by running richer than it should, and you quietly pay for every ounce that floats off. Here's what they have no reason to connect for you. A vapor leak this small almost never feels like anything. There's no stumble and no warning until the computer finally throws a code. And by then, you've been losing fuel for months. The station selling you a fresh tank is never going to point at the part that's leaking it right back out. So ask yourself honestly, when was the last time you tightened your cap until it actually clicked? If you can't remember hearing it click 3 times, that's your answer right there. The fix costs nothing today, and about $14 if the cap is cracked. Turn it until you hear 3 distinct clicks every single time you fuel up, and replace a hardened or split cap the moment you notice it. Number 16, the roof rack that's quietly taxing you. Move up to the outside of the car now, specifically the roof. Every rack, every cargo box, every set of empty crossbars you leave bolted up there turns your car into a worse shape for slicing through air. At highway speed, wind resistance is the single biggest force your engine is fighting, and a box or a basket sitting up in that airstream forces the engine to work measurably harder just to hold the same pace. What most drivers never realize is that the penalty doesn't switch off when the rack is empty. Bare crossbars alone churn up turbulence the entire time they're up there, and a loaded cargo box is far worse. Yet people leave them mounted from one ski season to the next because pulling them off is a hassle. I've watched the fuel data on cars before and after a roof box comes down, and the difference on a long highway commute is not subtle. The engine simply isn't straining against that same wall of air anymore. The fix here is free. Pull the rack, the box, or the empty bars off when you're not actively using them, and only mount the thing for the trip that genuinely needs it. Number 15, the dead weight riding around in your trunk. Now look inside. In the trunk and the back seat, at everything you've been hauling around for months without thinking about it. Every extra pound your car carries is mass. The engine has to accelerate away from every stoplight and drag up every hill. And in stop-and-go driving, that constant restarting of weight is exactly where the fuel quietly goes. Picture 2 identical Civics with the same engine running the same commute. One driver keeps the trunk empty. The other has been carrying a box of tools, a bag of softener salt he forgot to bring inside, and a folding chair since last summer. Call it 140 pounds of nothing useful. Over a year of city driving, the loaded car burns noticeably more fuel for the exact same trips, and its owner has no clue why his tank empties faster than his neighbor's. That's the part nobody flags for you, because weight never announces itself the way a warning light does. It just sits there shaving a little off every acceleration for months on end. The fix takes 10 minutes and $0. Clear out everything you aren't using right now, because as a rough rule, every extra 100 pounds chips away at your economy, and most trunks are carrying far more dead weight than the driver would ever guess. Number 14, the air filter, choking your engine. Your engine breathes, and the air filter is the only thing standing between clean intake air and a throat full of road dust. When that filter packs solid with grit and bug debris, the engine has to pull harder to get the air it needs to burn fuel properly. And that strain shows up most when you ask for power, merging, climbing, passing. Here's what the quick lube down the road will never frame honestly. They'll either ignore a filthy filter because it isn't on the upsell list that day, or wave a clean one in your face for a part that costs them a couple of dollars. Neither version tells you what a genuinely clogged filter is doing to how hard your engine works. A retired teacher from Spokane brought me her Camry convinced she needed a full tune-up because it felt gutless on the highway. Her air filter looked like the bottom of a vacuum cleaner. a fresh filter, and 5 minutes later the car breathed again and her highway mileage climbed right back to where it used to sit. Check yours twice a year. It pops out by hand on most cars, and a new one runs you around $22 at any parts counter. Number 13, the spark plugs misfiring behind your back. Spark plugs are tiny, they cost a few dollars a piece, and they are the entire difference between fuel that burns completely and fuel that gets half burned and shoved out the tailpipe. As the electrode wears down over tens of thousands of miles, the spark weakens, combustion turns sloppy, and the engine starts wasting a slice of every drop you paid for. What manufacturers won't print in bold is how long a worn plug can limp along before the computer ever flags a misfire. The car still starts, still drives, still feels mostly fine, all while quietly throwing away fuel on any cylinder that isn't lighting cleanly. According to the Department of Energy, simply keeping an engine properly tuned can improve gas mileage by an average of around 4%, and a fresh set of plugs is one of the cheapest tune-up items on that list. 4% sounds like nothing until you add it up across a full year of fill-ups. Replace your plugs at the interval in your manual, usually somewhere between 30,000 and 100,000 miles depending on the type, and expect to spend roughly $38 on a standard set for a 4-cylinder. Number 12, the wrong oil, turning your engine into a brake. The oil in your engine isn't just there to protect it, it's there to let everything inside slide with as little resistance as possible. Pour in oil that's thicker than your engine was designed for, and you've added internal drag to every moving part, which means the engine has to spend more of your fuel just overcoming its own lubricant. Here's what I've seen more times than I can count. A shop that's busy or careless pours in whatever 5-quart jug is closest on the rack, usually a heavier grade, on the lazy assumption that thicker oil means more protection. On a modern engine built around a thin oil like 0W20, that heavier oil is fighting the engine every second it runs. Open your hood and read the oil cap, then read the manual. Whatever weight it specifies, that exact number is the one your engine was engineered to run, and matching it costs you nothing extra over the wrong jug. The next one is hiding somewhere you can't see, and almost nobody thinks to clean it. Number 11, the clogged injectors spraying garbage. Your fuel injectors are supposed to spray fuel into the engine as a fine, even mist that burns cleanly and completely. Over the years, carbon and varnish build up on the tips, and that precise mist degrades into an uneven dribble. When fuel doesn't atomize properly, it doesn't burn properly, and you lose both power and miles per gallon without anything obvious going wrong. Think about it this way. When did you last do anything at all for your fuel injectors? If the honest answer is never, and you're past 60 or 70,000 miles, there's a good chance they're not spraying anywhere near as cleanly as the day the car was new, and you'd never feel the slow decline. Here's the part the dealer's service desk leaves out. You don't need their pricey shop machine for routine upkeep. A bottle of quality injector cleaner runs about $13 and goes straight in your tank a few times a year. Save the deep professional service around $89 for genuine neglect. Number 10, the tires dragging down every mile. Soft tires don't just ride badly, they physically resist rolling, and that resistance is something your engine pays for with extra fuel on every rotation. Run them 10 or 15 pounds below spec, and you've added a constant drag the engine has to push against from the driveway to the highway and back. A home health aide from outside Portland came in worried about a vibration in her CR-V. Every tire was running about 11 pounds low, and beyond the mileage she'd been quietly losing, she'd scrubbed a fresh set of tires bald months ahead of schedule, a $647 mistake that started with air she could have added for free. What nobody tells you at the pump is that the right pressure isn't the big number stamped on the tire. It's the one printed on the sticker inside your driver's door. Drop a comment below. When was the last time you actually checked your tire pressure with a gauge? Be honest. Pick up a decent gauge for around $16 and check all 4 cold once a month to that door sticker number. Number 9. The alignment you've never had checked. When your wheels aren't pointed in perfect agreement, they don't roll cleanly down the road, they scrub against it, each one fighting the direction the others want to go. That scrub is drag, and drag is fuel, burned the whole time the car is moving even down a dead straight road. Take 2 Corollas off the same lot at the same mileage. One gets an alignment after hitting a bad pothole. The other shrugs the pothole off and keeps driving. 6 months later, the aligned car tracks straight and returns its usual mileage, while the neglected one pulls slightly, chews its front tires unevenly, and quietly gives up fuel to a problem the driver can't even feel through the wheel. The shop frames this as a tire issue, and rarely as a fuel one, but a car that's out of alignment is wasting gas every mile, not just wearing rubber. Get your alignment checked once a year or after any hard hit, usually around $94. and you protect both your tires and your tank. What comes next is the habit drivers fall into because they think they're being kind to the engine, when at a standstill they're doing the exact opposite. Number 8. The warm-up myth: burning fuel at 0 miles per gallon. Letting the car sit and idle to warm up feels responsible, like you're being gentle with a cold engine before asking it to work. The truth is that an idling engine is getting exactly 0 miles per gallon because you're burning fuel while going nowhere, and a modern engine actually warms up far faster when you simply drive it gently than when it sits in the driveway. This advice is a leftover from the carburetor era, when cold engines genuinely needed to idle before they'd run right. Fuel injection ended that decades ago, but the habit never died, and nobody at the pump minds you torching gas in your own driveway. According to the Department of Energy, idling can burn through roughly a quarter to half a gallon of fuel an hour, depending on the engine, which adds up to real money for anyone who lets it run every cold morning, easily $71 a year for a 10-minute daily habit. Give it 30 seconds to circulate the oil, then drive off gently and let the engine warm under light load. Quick reminder before we keep going, if these are already putting money back in your pocket, take a second and hit that subscribe button right now. It costs you nothing, and it helps us keep digging up the stuff the industry would rather you never figured out. Number 2, the miracle gadgets that do nothing. Walk into any parts store or truck stop and you'll find a wall of products promising to slash your fuel use, magnets that clamp onto your fuel line, swirl fins for your intake, pills you drop in the tank. After 22 years, I'll tell you flatly, the ones promising double-digit mileage gains do nothing, and testing has proven it again and again. The $43 for a fuel line magnet does exactly as much as taping a quarter to the hose. Put that money toward the real fixes on this list. And keep your eyes right here, because the most profitable trick of all is next, the thing you pay extra for that your car was almost never built to need. Number 1, the premium fuel lie that funds the whole station. Here it is, the one the fuel business loves most. That premium grade you've maybe been buying because it sounds responsible carries one of the fattest profit margins on the whole lot, and for most cars, it does nothing a regular fill-up wouldn't. Premium isn't cleaner or more powerful, it simply resists knocking under high compression. Unless your engine is actually built to demand it, that higher octane gives you no extra miles and no extra power, only a thinner wallet. A real estate agent from Tucson had filled her Accord with premium for 9 years, certain she was treating the car right. Her manual called for regular in plain print. She switched that afternoon and saved $392 over the next year, money the station had quietly pocketed for years. Open your fuel door and read your manual. If premium is recommended and not required, regular is fine, and you've been donating the difference at every single stop. That's all 17, and you now know more about your fuel money than the station that sold you your last tank. If you want the everyday driving habits quietly destroying your engine from the inside, click the video on the left and I'll see you there. Hit subscribe before you go, because I'm not done exposing this.